But we'll move on to another example of where you could be put or might not be put in a difficult position. We're going to have a look at the Irish Champion Stakes. This is Golden Horn, of course, about to veer violently right across Free Eagle, who eventually finishes third, which means the blue capper Found slips into second, Phil. First of all, what were the initial reaction? I mean, presumably you felt on official ratings Free Eagle would have finished at least second with a clear run?
Well, first of all, Free Eagle is clearly significantly hampered. Right? But actually, Golden Horn is also significantly hampers himself to a great extent.
Which, as a handicapper, you can take into account,
absolutely.
But the stewards couldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and it was interesting, coming into the home straight, I thought that Free Eagle was going the better of the two. But actually, when the interference takes place, Free Eagle's head touches Golden Horn's backside.
Yeah.
So at least at that point, Golden Horn was 3/4 of a length ahead, and they both got significant interference, and they both lost momentum. So I guess that, you know, our figures, the BHA figures for that race were, you know, we had a Golden Horn on 123. We've got Found on 118, and we've got Free Eagle on 122. Free Eagle went in on 123, and we took the view, well, I took the view, because it's my race, that Free Eagle, because of that interference, perhaps didn't run to his rating. Now, Gary O'Gorman, and I can sort of see why, he said, well, no, we think that Free Eagle is an improver, and maybe he has run to his rate. His rating was 1, 2, 3, and therefore he's got Golden Horn a pound higher in this race than I have. So we've come to exactly the same conclusion, but at a different level. So I've gone 123.22 between the two of them, and he's gone 24.23.
I think, judged on what we saw that day, if this was a handicap, I mean, I don't know. I'll put it out there to the viewers. Viewers, let me know. I'm putting words in your mouth on Twitter, at the races, at MC Yeehaw, or on the email. I think if you had a handicap where Golden Horn had to give £1 to Free Eagle, that everyone would be lumping on Golden Horn.
You'd be absolutely right, because of course Golden Horn's handicap mark is 130.
Because it's weight for age taken into account?
No, it's not. It's 130, because we don't think, or I don't think, he was at his best in this race.
Now that is interesting. So what you're saying is Golden Horn ran £5 below his best.
7.
£7
I think
below
7.
his best.
Gary O'Gorman thinks 6.
Right. And that is interesting, because I've spoken to Anthony Oppenheimer this week, who is absolutely adamant that this horse basically hasn't had his conditions since the Derby, and we haven't seen the real Golden Horn since he's had a fast pace and fast ground.
Well, I partially agree with Anthony Oppenheimer. I think his last 2 runs on ground softer than good were certainly below par runs, but we actually think his best performance is in the Eclipse.
Right. Even though he got an easy-ish lead,
but he's run away from them in the Eclipse. He's run away from horses that we know are nice horses.
Funnily enough, I got the impression in the Irish Champion Stakes, what he did to Grey Gatsby about a furlong or a furlong and a half out in the Eclipse was what he was about to do to Free Eagle, which is, there looked as though there might be a skirmish, and he was about to brush the skirmish aside.
Well, in the sense that I've sort of half hinted that I agree with that, in the sense that, you know, as they came into the straight, I thought Free Eagle was definitely travelling the better of the two. But by the time of the interference, that situation had changed, and he was starting to go away. So I couldn't disagree with that solution. Our problem was, how much did the interference cause to both horses? You'd have to argue that it caused more to Free Eagle than it did Golden Horn, even though Golden Horn was, you know, seriously impeded himself. So this is a different situation, in my view, to the St Ledger, because there's no changing in the result or anything like that. The Irish stewards, you know, left the result as is. So then it's left up to the handicappers to say, well, what if we have to use our interpretative skills to come and put figures on that to try and make some sense of what was actually, again, another tricky decision. But I think this was a little easier than the Ledger in terms of coming up with a decision.
On handicap ratings alone, would it for you have been totally unsatisfactory if Found had been ended up as the winner of that Irish Champion Stakes?
Well, I suspect we'll get onto a question similar to that when we move on to the Beverley D, won't we?
But answering this question, well, would it be totally unsatisfactory if Found was now the Irish Champion Stakes winner on handicap ratings?
I think the Irish stewards made an excellent decision.
Yeah, and so do I.